What's good, my people? Welcome back to EMGM Sports. It's your boy Enzo. Once again, thank you so much to everyone who subscribed, everyone who likes the videos, everyone who leaves and comments and shares. I really appreciate that. You're really helping the channel to grow, and that means a lot to me, man. Today, I wanted to talk more about, this narrative that's out there about Anthony Joshua. People saying that one of the weaknesses, some of the weaknesses in Joshua's armor is, he's got a suspect chin, or he's got a weak chin, or he's a quitter, or whatever. Like, first of all, I just, like, seriously, this is just a question in general that I'm putting out there that I really want to know. Like, what is a suspect chin? Like, what does a suspect chin actually even mean? Like, does it mean, like, what are they talking about? What is a suspect chin? Is a suspect chin like Amir Khan type of chin, where you get hit and then you start dancing, you get the chicken legs out? Is that what they mean? Or do they mean like a suspect chin like Mike Tyson, who's been knocked out, several times in his career? Is that what they mean? Do they mean like Lennox Lewis, when he got knocked out a few times in his career? Like, what is a suspect chin? What is a weak chin, etc., etc.? I just feel like, for me, a lot of the time it's just lazy analysis to build a narrative around the fighter, to discredit them. Do you know what I mean? And just to make them seem like they're not up to the task. Do you know what I mean? They're not elite. They're not an elite fighter. Do you know what I mean? Like, people saying that Joshua is got a weak chin, but Joshua has never been knocked out. Joshua has never been knocked out in his career. Now, people say that Andy Ruiz fight, he got knocked down a few times, but the Andy Ruiz fight, it wasn't a knockout. The Andy Ruiz fight was actually a TKO, because Joshua, even after getting knocked down a few times, he got back up. Yeah, he got back up, and the ref decided that Anthony Joshua had enough, so he decided to stop the fight. So it was under the ref's discretion that the fight was stopped. But Anthony Joshua himself, he got back up. For you to get back up, especially these heavyweights, yeah, them punches weigh a ton, yeah. You get knocked down like that by these heavyweights, and if you manage to get back up, yeah, and if the ref decides to stop that fight, for me, you're still a brave fighter. You're not a quitter. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not like Joshua, stayed down, or he was on his stool being between rounds and he was like, no mas, like, no more, I'm done, I quit. He's never done that in his whole career. So I don't know where this narrative comes from, like Joshua might be a quitter, or, the weak chin situation, like, because he's always finished the fights standing up, like against, we can go, when we can go back to when Joshua fought Vladimir Klitschko. Vladimir Klitschko knocked Joshua down, had him wobbled a few times, but Joshua stood his ground, and he came back, and then he won the fight. He knocked down Vladimir Klitschko a couple of times, and he won by TKO. So for me, that shows a fighter that's tough, actually. That's brave. Do you know what I mean? And he's determined to get the job done. And sometimes you'll go your way, and sometimes it won't. Sometimes, it might actually, that determination and desire to keep going might actually work against you, where you leave yourself vulnerable, and you will get clipped and you will get caught. But it doesn't mean that someone that's been knocked down a few times, it doesn't mean that they've got a weak chin. You know what a lot of people seem to be implying. If you look at Tyson Fury, there's no narrative around him having a weak chin, because Tyson Fury, how many times did he get knocked down by Deontay Wilder? I think Tyson Fury got knocked down by Deontay Wilder maybe about 3 or 4 times. And, he got knocked down. Tyson Fury got knocked down early in his career. I forgot by which fighter, but he got clipped and got knocked down by a few fighters in his when he first started his career, like in the heavyweight division. So, but I never see the same narrative being painted around Tyson Fury that he's got a weak chin. Do you know what I mean? I don't really understand that. Lennox Lewis got knocked out a few times. You never hear anyone saying that, the great Lennox Lewis had a weak chin. Muhammad Ali got knocked down. You never hear that narrative that Muhammad Ali had a weak chin. Do you know what I mean? So many fighters. There's plenty of fighters out there. Roy Jones. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, Mike Tyson. So many fighters. Manny Pacquiao. Mate, some of the greatest fighters of all time have all been knocked out, flat, KO'd, TKO'd. Evander Holyfield. They've all been hurt, badly clipped. But you never get this narrative painted, on their names that they have a weak chin. So sometimes I just feel like I said in the beginning, it's like weak analysis to build a narrative around the fighter to bring them down. Do you know what I mean? To discredit their achievements or to try and just wind them up and put them down before a fight. Do you know what I mean? Like to confuse the fans, etc., etc. But for me, yeah, this whole notion of a weak chin, suspect chin, whatever, like every fighter has a suspect chin. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're in a fight, if you're in a boxing fight, obviously both fighters are skilled. Yeah, they're throwing bombs at each other. If you get clipped on a button, on the temple or right on the chin, yeah, whatever, you're going down. If it's a clean shot, like you're going down. You are going down, and that's what's happened to Joshua in a few fights in his career where he's been clipped, against Dillian White, where he got clipped, but he stayed on his feet. That's the thing. You've never seen Joshua laid out flat, KO'd, and can't get back up. Do you know what I mean? We've seen Tyson Fury laid out flat, got back up. Do you know what I mean? Like laid out flat by Wilder a few times, get back up. We never see. No one says Tyson Fury has a weak chin. So I don't really understand the narrative around about Joshua having a weak chin. It doesn't make no sense. People try and use that to say that's a weakness. That's a chink on his armor. I don't really think so. I feel like he's a brave fighter who's determined, is motivated to win fights, and you're gonna get clipped. And it doesn't make him a suspect chin. It doesn't make him chinny. You know what I mean? That's just, let's stop with the lazy analysis and let's get back to reality and let's just tell the truths. Anthony Joshua does have weaknesses. I feel like his cardio is one of his biggest weaknesses. If we really look at it, the longer the fight goes, like he stops throwing more punches. Do you know what I mean? He throws less and less punches as the round goes, which is understandable because the way Anthony Joshua is built, he's got so much muscle. They require so much energy. Your heart has to pump so much blood to fill up those gaps on the muscles, and it's so hard to keep your hands up for 12 rounds. Like he's gonna gas in it. If he has a fury, if he offloads a few punches here, if he throws a few combos out, he has to calculate it here and take it in key moments where he feels like he can go for it. He can't just let his hands go because he's carrying so much muscle. The way he's built, he's like I said, his muscles require a lot of oxygen, and hence why, yeah, his cardiovascular just won't last. It wouldn't permit him to throw the amount of punches that he probably wants to throw. Do you know what I mean? Hence why his output towards the end of the fight, do you know what I mean, is less than in the beginning because of the way his physique, the way he's built. So for me, that's a weakness for Joshua. Do you know what I mean? When I'm analyzing his fights, when I'm looking at him, his style and everything like that, for me, his cardio is suspect, and his cardio is definitely a weakness. I wouldn't say, his chin is suspect or his chin is a weakness. Like any fighter out there has a suspect chin, because if you get hit, you're going down. Even like Carl Froch, who's one of Anthony Joshua's biggest critics or haters, whatever you want to call it these days. Carl Froch got dropped, man. When Carl Froch got clipped against George Groves, he went down. Do you know what I mean? And in that fight against George Groves, if it wasn't for poor refereeing, yeah, Carl Froch would have lost that fight against George Groves. Do you know what I mean? George Groves got stopped because of the referee intervened when he was completely fine. He could have carried on fighting, but the referee stopped it. And Carl Froch knows he got saved in that fight. And no one ever says Carl Froch has a suspect chin because he's been dropped a few times. So for me, like I said in the beginning, it's just lazy analysis, and that has to stop. When has AJ ever quit? When has Joshua actually ever quit? Did he quit against Andy Ruiz? People say he quit. I don't think he quit. Like I watched that fight a few times. I wouldn't call that quitting. I would definitely not call that quitting. For me, he was hurt. He was badly hurt. He was concussed in that fight. that punch from Andy Ruiz definitely, like, once Andy Ruiz landed that shot, Joshua just couldn't get his legs back. Do you know what I mean? He's just struggling. He was all over the place. And I just feel like for that fight, he came in too big, too muscularly as well. Do you know what I mean? He just ran out of gas. But to say that he quit, I don't think he quit. People say that, oh, he threw his mouthpiece out. Mate, fighters do that all the time to buy time. If you're in trouble, yeah, if you watch most fights, some of the biggest fights out there, you will see that the fighters will spit the gum shield out to buy more time, because then the referee has to pick it up, give it to the coach to wash it, clean it, give back to the fight. By the time all that happens, it's about 20, 30 seconds and the fighter can recover. But in this instant, the referee decided to take it up on his own hands and call the fight off and say that, look, Joshua can carry on. You can't then just say Joshua quit. Again, for me, that's lazy analysis. Do you know what I mean? To just paint another narrative to say that Anthony Joshua is a quitter. But I understand it. Anthony Joshua has a lot of haters out there. But all I ask is, at least when we're analyzing fights, when we're analyzing fighters, at least let's try to be subjective. Do you know what I mean? Let's look at the whole, the whole video, the clip. Let's look at it properly. Let's analyze it. Let's make it fair. Let's not have these, do you know what I mean, like agendas and whatever's going on. Do you know what I mean? And just make weak analysis, like lazy analysis, which I really don't understand. But like I said, for me, Anthony Joshua's biggest weaknesses are really his cardio. Do you know what I mean? He will gas if he throws combinations during the fight because he carries so much muscle. But I think like him linking up with Ben Davison has really helped him to be more selective with his punches. Anthony Joshua is more calculative. Do you know what I mean? He's not taking as much risks. He's really more poised. You know what I mean? He's sitting on the punches more, which means that if he lands that right hand, you're more likely to go over. And that's going to be vital going against a younger fighter like, Daniel Dubois. Do you know what I mean? Who's going to come in, is going to throw volumes, who's going to try to overwhelm Joshua and eventually take Joshua into deep waters in the later rounds. So for Anthony Joshua, it's all about keeping his mental focus on, mental composure, do you know what I mean? Managing his cardio, throwing combinations, very, calculate it, throw combination in moments rather than all the time trying to overwhelm Daniel Dubois, because I feel like Daniel Dubois might have the better cardio out of the two. I've seen Daniel Dubois go against Gerard Miller and he did really well. I thought he was going to gas, but he didn't. He still had a lot left in the tank. Do you know what I mean? So Joshua definitely has to manage his cardio better. He's the not even slight. He's the much older fighter. So he has to really use his experience wisely against a Daniel Dubois, who's going to come in there and he's very confident. Do you know what I mean? Like he wants to take this away from Joshua. I just don't feel like it's fair to say that Anthony Joshua has a weak chin when he's never been knocked out. Do you know what I mean? Or to call him a quitter when he's never actually quit. Do you know? So that's my take on it. And yeah, you let me know what you think. Comment down below. Let me know, has Anthony Joshua got a weak chin? Is that what you think? Also, let me know what you think, Anthony Joshua's biggest weaknesses are. Let me know in the comments. I'll really appreciate that. Once again, thank you very much for watching EMGM Sports. I'm your boy Enzo. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll really appreciate it. Until the next one, peace.